Well, Final Fantasy VII has long been regarded as one of the most important and popular releases in gaming history, remaining in many gamers' top 10 all-time list, despite hitting the 25-year anniversary of the original date that we all took our first steps in the shoes of the spiky-haired protagonist, Cloud Strife. I mean, think about it. A lot of games have come out in the last 25 years. You know, like Bubsy 3D. No, it's a terrible game. Never mind. It's a bad example. But somehow, this singular RPG found a way to not only remain iconic and memorable, but gain an entirely new fan base through the Final Fantasy VII Remake project that they released the first version of it, and the remaining series parts of it, they're still on their way.
After the cliffhanger of an ending that we received at the end of the first chapter of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, we were all left wondering, what could possibly be coming next for these heroes and the story that we thought we knew so well.
Yeah, they definitely took a few different twists and turns on the classic story, but it turns out that Square Enix had an even larger surprise in store for all of us, as the next chapter in the Final Fantasy VII Remake saga will not be a sequel, but a prequel. We're returning to Crisis Core, an adventure many of us may have missed out on. While 2 million units in sales is no small accomplishment for a title that launched on the ill-fated Sony PSP handheld system, you have to consider almost 20 million people have purchased, and many more have probably played it, either the original Final Fantasy VII or the 2020 remake, meaning the vast majority of gamers are about to experience this part of the story for the very first time.
Scattered along the broken road that Sony took to explore that challenging and competitive environment, many excellent gaming titles became trapped in the crossfire. And one of those was the universally acclaimed Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core.
For its time, this game had it all. It had full high-definition cinematics.
For its time.
It had an updated combat system. And most importantly, it told a brand new story, explored the untold origins of some of our favorite characters, primarily around Zack, and how this whole conflict got started in the first place. But despite all of its best efforts, Crisis Core was released on a system that was doomed. Now, while the PSP technically survived on store shelves for 10 years, it never managed to dent the impenetrable armor of Nintendo's handheld dominance. PSP, along with all of its underwhelming successors, faded into obscurity, so all of the games that were created specifically for that platform unfortunately went down with the ship.
Sure, a couple of lifeboats were launched that gave a new release on life to PSP exclusives like Patapon, Loco Roco, and the God of War Origin titles. But Crisis Core and the epic story of Zack Fair was not even handed a life preserver as the PSP sunk to the bottom of the gaming ocean.
It was like Titanic. Rose was just like, sorry, there's no room for you. And it's like, it looks like there's a lot of room on here. You could probably fit Crisis Core on here. She was like, no, you're going to have to go.
Yeah, it looked like game over, right?
It was.
Essentially. But, until now.
Setbacks, disappointment, tragedy, those are an unfortunate and unavoidable part of all of our paths in life. Dreams turn to nightmares without warning, even for those who have placed our trust fully in the Lord. And in those moments, it's easy for us to believe that our Father has turned his back on us. In this painfully hopeless place, we may even choose to define ourselves by our losses and embrace that darkness that has now become more familiar than the happiness that we once enjoyed.
But there is a way out of the nightmare. By lifting our eyes beyond our own crushing pain and allowing Christ and his love to flow through us as a vessel to show grace to others, we can help others reach their dreams. It was in the unselfish pursuit of Ruth's happiness that Naomi found her path from bitterness to blessing. And it was in the unselfish use of his gifts that Joseph's dream interpretations took him from the prison to the palace.
Yeah, the triumphant remastering of Crisis Core will finally allow the incredible story of Zack Fair to be discovered by an entirely new generation of fans, bigger and better than ever before. Now, sure, for a long time, it was a discarded relic from a long-forgotten system that is no longer in production. And in our pain, it is easy for us to feel forgotten and discarded and abandoned as well. Crisis Core was an amazing game for its time. It didn't do anything wrong to deserve that fate. It was not a bad game. It deserved to survive. Wrong platform. It didn't make it. It was released on a platform that was not destined for survival. And similarly, the tragedies that we endure, the nightmares that follow, they're not necessarily our fault. This earthly platform that we're currently running on is simply a flawed operating system that has been corrupted by the effect of sinful choices by generation after generation of selfish beings.
Our once pleasant dreams may have been replaced with nightmares beyond our ability to escape, making our waking hours more painful than we believe we can bear. But the way out of this prison may not be in seeking a way back to our dreams, but by allowing the Lord to use us to fulfill the dreams of others.
Just like Joseph's unselfish interpretation of others' dreams eventually led to his escape from prison and the fulfillment of his long gestating dreams, Naomi found her fulfillment in life when she assisted Ruth with achieving her happy ending. It can be very hard to wipe the tears from someone else's eyes when we can't even see past the tears in our own. But it is through our unselfish pursuit of using the gifts the Lord has given us to help others that many times the answers to our prayers and the fulfillment of our dreams can be found.
Our tragedies don't magically become pleasant simply through our service and devotion to Christ, and some of the things we have lost don't find their way back to us, unfortunately, at least not on this side of eternity. But there is an escape to the nightmare we are currently walking through, and we don't have to allow this darkness to rename us or define us.
If we will raise our heads and look past our own sorrow, we will often find another soul who is enduring the same dream-shattering nightmare that we're currently enduring. And if we're willing to act as a conduit for the love of Christ to heal their pain, we will find that His grace will be sufficient for their needs as well as ours. That the pain we're enduring is real. The nightmare often seems more real than the dreams we once believed in. But the light that will illuminate our darkness may come from giving the little remaining light that we have left to another who is in need. Just the same way that the widow who fed Elijah had to be willing to give her last remaining meal to receive the provision that would save both her and her son.
And as we are seeing with the Crisis Core Remaster, which has been named Reunion by the game developers, we can also experience a beautiful reuniting of our hopes and dreams on the other side of our nightmare by helping to carry a fellow soul out of their darkness and into the Lord's healing light. We may find that this current painful epilogue we are playing through is actually just the prologue to a whole new story far beyond our wildest dreams.